Comfort, are you able to mute the noise with the participants?
Yeah, Gloria is supposed to be on that. I'm just checking with her to see if she's doing that.
Okay, great. All right. Give me a second, guys, while I get this going. Okay, here we are. Share my screen. There we are. Can you see my screen, Comfort, just to double check?
Yes, perfectly.
Great. All right. All right. So my name is Buki Curry White. I am the principal consultant for Robert Taylor Media. My company is 10 years old. It used to be called the Bobby Taylor Company. And then we decided to rebrand at year 10. And we came up with Robert Taylor Media. I have practiced public relations for quite some time. Like Comfort mentioned, my mother was into public relations, and it's something that I enjoy, something that I absolutely love, a profession that I'm very passionate about. And it's also a profession that everyone who owns a business should be passionate about as well. To start off, I want to define what public relations is. I find that many times when people contact us for PR services for their businesses, there seems to be a bit of a confusion with public relations and marketing. Public relations and marketing are very, very two different things. There are some few gray areas, but in most part, they are extremely different. That's why you have PR agencies and you have marketing agencies. So public relations is the managing of the spread of information from a brand, company, organization, or individual using various mediums such as television, newspapers, the internet, radio, or other relevant campaigns to the public or desired target audience. Now, to talk about the difference with public relations and marketing. And like I said earlier, sometimes this is difficult to explain as the lines can be blurred. Especially when you have a small company. So public relations is the professional maintenance of a favorable public image by a company, organization, or person, while marketing is the action or business of promoting and selling products and services. The main difference is that marketing is focused on promoting and selling a specific product, whereas PR is focused on maintaining a positive reputation for a brand as a whole, which can lead to sales. So just to give you a quick example, there's a fantastic brand called Simply Foods. They just launched into the market, I want to say 2 years ago. And what they've done is that they've gone into the market and gotten things like yam and beans. They've cut it for you. They've peeled it, they've washed it, and they've put it in a bag, and it's to be refrigerated. And when you're ready to eat, all you need to do is get your Simply Food bag and plop it in the fryer. How does Simply Foods market its brand to the public? When it's marketing, you then see things like activations in places like ShopRite or Spar, and they're doing one-on-ones, and there's an activation there, and they're kind of showing you. It's more of a direct-to-consumer kind of experience. That's what marketing is. Now, in terms of PR, what is Simply Foods doing with PR? Simply Foods is doing articles in magazines and newspapers talking about the modern African woman. The modern African woman is busy, she has a job, and she has a family, but she doesn't necessarily have time to go to the markets, to go and buy yam and select which yam is good and which one is not good. And then she doesn't have time to peel it and then wash it and then start to cook it. So Simply Food has simplified this experience for her by getting all of these things done. So when the modern African woman comes home from work, she can just go in her freezer and then get the food and plop it in the fryer and her meal is ready. So this is a story that they're telling using press. It could directly lead into sales. Whereas with marketing, what they're doing is actually physically activating and talking to people one-on-one. So if you notice this little story I've just given is that PR comes with storytelling. It comes with trying to change the mindset of your consumer or your target audience. And they've done this using blogs, they've done this using videos, they've done this using newspapers and X, Y, and Z. Whereas with the marketing, it is more of an activation and it's more one-on-one and more direct with the consumer. Whereas with PR, it is using the different platforms that your consumers might possibly be listening to or in a space that they play in, and then telling a brand story to buy in or to let them buy into your brand so that it can result to sales. I don't know if that makes any sense. All right, so there's this little screen here and circles, and you can see that they're kind of intertwined because I say that they always overlap, and I'll just go through them very quickly. Marketing is a systematic process, planning of an organization's promotional efforts. Audience is primarily consumers or potential buyers. For marketing, it is more of paid media. Companies have to pay for marketing efforts. Whereas with PR, it's focused on creating a favorable public image through relationship building and reputation management. It draws attention to public conversations and media coverage. Also diverts attention away from public discussions if it's damaging. Audiences vary. It's not just customers, it could be media, internal employees. And PR is mostly has to do with earned media, meaning that you have to pitch to an editor or a journalist to cover your client or your organization. Advertising is focused on drawing attention to the product through strategic placement and imagery. It is paid, and companies have to pay for advertising sections. And audience is primarily customers or potential buyers. Now, why is PR important? PR is less expensive than advertising. So for example, if you wanted to get a billboard to promote your business, you know that you're paying top dollar for that. Whereas with public relations, what you're doing is that you're pitching to an editor, a journalist, or a TV station, radio, and whatnot. And when you pitch, what you're trying to do is to get the journalist to be interested in whatever you're selling or your brand or your person. When the journalist is interested in, that's when you get the feature, and it's usually unpaid. Nigeria is a very different market in that sometimes payment for these services or for PR is necessary, but quite not as expensive as advertising. So PR is important for your business because it is less expensive than advertising. You can get some really, really good coverage without having to break the bank. Secondly, when a consumer sees a third-party coverage of a product, service, or person, it is perceived much differently than a traditional advert. When you see an advert, you know it's paid for. When you open Genevieve magazine and you see a feature on an event planning company or the owner of an event planning company, it's more believable that a magazine featured this person because the magazine is interested in this person. And if the magazine is interested in that person, then you're more likely to believe it. When a media house endorses a brand, it gains credibility. Consumers are more likely to make a purchase based on third-party endorsements than an ad. I continue to say that everyone is extremely smart. We know when something is just an ad, and when something is more of an article or a feature, it's more likely that we will believe that as opposed to an ad. Consistent PR will help build more awareness and can supplement any direct marketing, advertising, and efforts. The visibility that PR brings to a brand can help secure things like partnerships, customers, and possible funding. There's been quite a few occasions where we've had clients that we do public relations services for. And when it comes to maybe they're having an event or working on a particular project and they're looking for sponsorship, most of these guys who are giving money will go and Google and search to see what this brand is all about. When you see different people talking about the brand, if you see it on, let's say, a Bella Niger, you see it on magazines, you see it in the Business Day Online, if you see it on Guardian newspaper, you're more likely to believe the credibility of that business, and then sponsorship can be more, or would be most likely considered. One good media placement can lead to more sales. And finally, because bad PR can ruin the reputation of your brand, which is why PR is important. The greatest brands have dealt with negative PR, which is why they have a PR agency usually in-house, and they have a crisis management plan usually tucked away somewhere, so that in the event of negative press or negative publicity, you can handle it if you have a fantastic crisis management plan in-house. One second here. All right. Sorry, give me a little bit of my screens. Okay, there. All right. All right, so PR tips to live by. Get that off my screen. All right. Have a brand story and tell it. Think of your brand as a human persona. The more interesting and genuine its personality is, the more trust others will feel towards it. So for example, the Robert Taylor Media brand story. My brand story has been told over and over and over again. And it has helped our brand as a PR agency tremendously. Our brand story talks about a woman, myself, starting a PR agency in her living room with a 3-month-old baby. It talks about my desire to enter the Nigerian market and introduce public relations the way it is practiced worldwide. It talks about me looking for an event in Nigeria in which I found the Future Awards and contacted the organizers of that event and offered to provide to them and to the winners of the Future Awards a Bobby Taylor gift bag. Flying to Nigeria with my gift bags, attending the event and having all the winners hold my gift bags on stage, having announcement at every interval of the event, saying, you know, gift bags are provided to you by Bobby Taylor. And in my gift bag, putting my company profile all printed out nicely, all in there, and gaining massive exposure through that event. That is how my company was birthed into the Nigerian market. It talks about my mom. My brand story talks about my mother and her involvement in public relations in the aviation industry, Nigeria Airways to be specific, and just kind of shows you that I have lived and breathed PR for forever. I mean, this is what I was born into. This is what I understand. This is the only thing I know how to do. If I wasn't a public relations expert today, I'll most likely be a hairdresser. Other PR tips to live by is keeping up with your industry. read, attend events, set up Google alerts so that you can see what is happening in your industry, find and follow top industry influencers, know what your competitors are doing. So for example, in my industry, what I've done is that I have joined the American Public Relations Society, the Public Relations Society of Canada, working on the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. I read a lot of articles on PR. I get a lot of articles from the associations that I'm affiliated with. I attend PR events locally and internationally. I do have Google alerts for public relations on my LinkedIn. I'm part of, some closed PR groups where I get to see different experiences that other PR industry experts are having. I learn from them. I ask questions. I kind of keep an eye on what my competitors are doing. Not all the time. I'm not very good with that, but it is something to do, especially when you have a product and of course a service. It's good to see what others are doing so that you can be one step ahead. Other PR tips to live by is that you need to network. If you live in Nigeria, you should know that the power of networking is very real. It's extremely important to constantly engage with other people, share your story, share information about your business. Networking has helped a lot of people and continues to do so. Another PR tip to live by, and I wouldn't necessarily call this a PR tip, it is a given, is that it's important to ensure that your product and service are actually good. No one can sell bad product or bad service. Your product has to be perfected. Your services has to be perfected. That's why things such as customer service is extremely important. Reviewing your products as well is extremely important because people, they will use your product. If it's bad, they're going to talk about it. If it's good, they might talk about it as well. So please ensure that your product and your services are actually top-notch. Don't cut corners. We're very unforgiving if you live in Nigeria. We'll talk about it, we'll tweet about it, we'll complain about it. And I'll get to how you manage those kinds of things if there's ever an event where you have complaints or negative press. PR tips to live by: craft and create compelling pitches. And I will talk about a case study and go over a case study towards the end of my presentation on pitching. Pitching is when you contact an editor and say, hi, my name is so-and-so. I sell black soap. Keeping in mind that 1 million other people probably sell black soap, but then how exactly is your product or your service different from everyone else? I always tell people to think about this before they even engage PR, is that you're not the only one that owns the type of business that you own. You're not the only one that offers the services that you offer. You're not the only one with a unique product. I mean, there's some few special people that have unique products, but how does your brand differ from everyone else? There needs to be something that sets you apart, that you can pitch, that people can see, that will definitely lead to more sales. Building a strong relationship with your local media is extremely important. So when you see different things like different brands putting together an event and then inviting bloggers to host them and treat them, they're not crazy. They know exactly what they're doing. Building strong relationships with our press is very important. If you live in Nigeria, you know how difficult it can be. Keeping in mind that these press guys probably receive 1 million emails every day. Their attention is sought after by so many different people. And so you have to be creative to find a way to engage them and build a relationship with them. And I usually tell people that have products, if, for example, you wanted your product featured in a magazine. You send an email and say, hi, Betsy Rabo, my name is so. I have a new deodorant. And my deodorant is great and it's different from everyone else because it guarantees that you're not going to sweat in the next 48 hours. That email is great. I mean, she might read it and say, oh, okay. But I think that it would mean a lot more if she actually does receive the products, does get to try it out. Or if you have a service, maybe a spa, could be a hair salon, and you invite her in to experience your service, and then you follow up with your pitch, that might be stronger for you to do as opposed to just an email. Creating a press kit is extremely important as well. A lot of people usually ask what your press kit should contain, what should be in your press kit. I usually say that your press kit should have, of course, information about your brand, information about the people behind the brand, information about your team, all their accomplishments, you know, big it up. If you've been featured in other press outlets, you might want to include that there, and how to contact you, your website address, your social media handles, who your target audience is, just everything that a media person would need to be able to do an article on your brand is what should be in your press kit. Other PR tips to live by is social media. As we all know, social media is king. There's a lot going on with social media these days. A lot of people are on social media, but you'd be shocked as to how many people are not very active on social media. Posting every day is extremely important. I always say, no matter what you do as a brand, show up. Show up online. You know how you show up when you're going to a class? You need to show up. Your show up could be one tweet. Your show up could be a post on Instagram. Your show up could be Snapchat, depending on what your demographics are. But you must show up to social media class every day as a brand. Now I'm going to give about 3 different steps. Strategic PR steps for small businesses. So if you don't have your notebook and your pen handy, you might want to do that. You know, I'll wait for a second for you to do so. All right. PR early stages. When a client contacts us for PR, we make them fill out what we call a client form because we want to see exactly where you are as a brand. And one of the things that we ask is if you have a website. You will be shocked as to how many people do not own websites. I feel websites are extremely important, and I'll tell you why. When a consumer is going to purchase a product or use a service, one of the things that they do is that they conduct a search or they Google. What would be amazing when they Google or conduct a search is if your website comes first or comes on the first page of Google, and they can go on your site and they can see what services you offer. They can see what your price points are. You don't have to put your price points on there. It could show, your website could show testimonials from other customers that have used your product or service. And you know, testimonials is great. I mean, a lot of people read testimonials and see different people talking about your brand, makes it more believable and gives it a lot of credibility. On your website, they get to see, you know, news about your product or your service. It shows how to find you, how to contact you, your telephone number, your social media handles, your address, and X, Y, and Z. I know that many times I've tried to find certain places and I do search to see if a site or a website or something will come up that has, you know, directions or an address. So a website is extremely important to your brand. You should have one. If you don't have one, get one. There are many different platforms that actually even allow you create your own website. Or you can easily pay someone to do it. There are deals every day. Buying your domain name is extremely, extremely important. A lot of people have missed out on buying their domain names. Now they belong to other people. So it is important having a website. Another thing that we do with our clients in the first and early stages is that we build a company profile that details the strength of your company or your brand, the profile of your team, your unique selling proposition, your services, contact details, and X, Y, and Z. Why do you need a company profile? If someone contacts you and wants more detail on your company, if you didn't want to send them to your website, you could easily send them and email them your company profile, which gives them a quick glance as to what your brand is about. As an individual, we also are in the habit of creating individual profiles as well. A quick snapshot of who the person is. You could see how many followers they have on social media. You could see different things that they've worked on and different accomplishments, awards, X, Y, and Z, all detailed in a snapshot, which gives a quick overview of the person to whoever who's looking at it, or a quick overview of the brand or of the service or of the product to whoever who's looking at it. Early stages of PR, we also activate social media. It is very important to understand your brand, understand your brand demographics, understand who your customers are, because that is what will help you know what social media platforms to activate. I always say that you don't need to be on every single social media platform. If you're a fashion brand, for example, you create clothes or you design t-shirts, I would pick Instagram over Twitter. Twitter, of course, is just, you know, short words and X, Y, and Z, as Instagram is more visual. And as a fashion brand, you need to be visual. So I would pick Pinterest and I would pick Instagram. Facebook, not sure. Twitter, maybe not, maybe for relevancy, but that would be your space. So understanding the kind of brand that you have also lets you know what platforms you should be on. If you're a politician, hi, Donald Trump. If you're a politician, then Twitter is most likely your space so that you can have, you know, quick and active conversations and you can engage. Yeah, and then of course it depends on what you would use Instagram to do and all of that. If you're going to make campaign videos and you wanted to buy Instagram ads, then Instagram will make sense. So my point is that understanding your brand and understanding what social media space you should be in, understanding what social media space your customers are in, that's what determines what social media platform you should be on. So activating social media is extremely important. Excuse me, it's cold, I have allergies, everything. Okay, during the early stages, we also advise that our clients build ties with editors and reporters in your industry. If you are, again, a fashion designer, then you want to know fashion editors, or fashion bloggers. I'm not sure that sorry, one second. I'm not sure that a real estate editor would be the kind of media that you should be creating ties with. It should usually be around your industry. And there are journalists separated by industry. So you really need to do your research and know what editors or reporters that you should be building relationships with. hire public relations experts. Now, there's this huge thing about how PR is expensive. It's not necessarily a lie, but there are a lot of PR agencies that will work with your budget, a lot of PR agencies that are able to work with you per project. There are PR agencies that are also happy to come into your business and actually train your staff on easy DIY PR activities. We do that a lot. A lot of people hire us to come in and we train their in-house PR person, and we're external consultants. And if they need us on a project, then they can do that. At the same time, we also have clients that do engage us long-term, which means that we're on retainership with these brands. Depending on what your budget is, hiring a public relations expert, whether it's in-house or externally, is extremely important. Early stages, we begin to talk with our clients about setting up a blog, getting a column in a newspaper or online, or being a guest speaker at an event, or in your specific industry. What this does is that it begins to position yourself as a leader in your field. Just the same way I could have a column in Guardian newspaper and all I talk about is public relations for small businesses. After a while, you're going to say, Bookie is extremely knowledgeable on public relations. She has a column, she talks about all these different things. It kind of sets me as a leader in my field. And we usually encourage all of our clients, whether you have a product or a service, to be a leader in their field. We find it extremely important. If you live in Nigeria, you know that a lot of people are also very interested in the face behind the brand, the people behind the brand. They want to know who. We're the only ones that go in a restaurant because we know the owner, not because we like the food. So who you are behind the scenes and as the owner of your business is extremely important. And self-branding is something that we definitely encourage all of our clients to do in early stages of PR. So even if you're looking for PR for your brand or for your service or for your business or for your organization, who you are as a person that owns that business, that owns that organization is extremely important. How you're perceived is important. What your LinkedIn is saying is important. Do you have a professional headshot? What's your bio looking like? Does it tie into what your business is about? Are you twerking on Instagram and you own a charitable organization? That doesn't quite work. So it depends, and who you are as a person and setting yourself as a leader in your field is extremely important. I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break, and I will be right back. Comfort will take it from here, and I will see you in a second. Please don't forget to get your questions ready. We have about 30 more minutes to go, and then I'm going to start to take questions and answer as much as I can. Take it that I'm offering free consultation today, and I will speak to you soon.
Okay, everybody, can you guys hear me? Maybe I can't hear myself. Can you guys hear me? Okay, I guess everybody can hear me. I'm gonna unmute everybody first, okay? And then hopefully I'm not just talking to myself. So if you guys can hear me, just to let you know that we have a couple more webinars that are online for you guys to register for. The next one in January, it's going to be towards the end of the month, and that's going to be talking about budgeting and forecasting. We're going to introduce you to the concept of how do you budget for the year? How do you budget for your business? How do you break even? And how do you How do you make sure that you meet your sales goals, your sales numbers? Give me 1 second while I try to unmute everybody. All right, so everyone's actually unmuted right now. So if you have background noise, you could just click at the bottom of your screen and mute yourself.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. So like I was saying,
Hello.
just to quickly remind you, if you go online, we have a couple of webinars planned out for the year for you.
I need my iPad.
The next one is actually going to be budgeting and forecasting.
Yeah.
Buki was just introducing you to the concept of branding, but
What did
you can actually register for the
Okay.
live class that we have coming on that deals specifically with branding. I'm going to mute everybody again because I can't hear myself. One person has their hands raised.
Gloria, maybe just unmute the person whose hand is raised.
Your system's still on.
I'm going to allow people to... Comfort, can you talk?
Let's see.
Yeah,
can
you should. Yeah, you should be back. Okay.
Okay, great. So Bookie is back, which is fab. We will continue with her. I think someone has their hand raised. So that's a quick question. Kelly, if you could unmute her. The power is in your hands. Just to hear what her question is. And then
Yeah.
That,
Yeah. 1 second.
we'll return to Bookie.
I'm trying to find her on the list.
Well, for me, she's at the top.
She's at the top. Okay. All right. So I want to unmute her.
Because I raised my hand.
All right, Kelly. You're on now, so you should be unmuted.
Okay, thank you. I don't know what to do next.
Hi, Kelly. This is Buki. How are you? Kelly, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. I noticed that you raised up your hand. Did you have a question for me?
Oh, sorry about that. I was just trying. It's my first time using the app.
Okay.
So I didn't know what it meant. So sorry about that.
That's okay.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right. All right. So give me a second. Okay, here we are. All right. So stage 2, and thank you for your time and thank you for waiting for me. I had to get my bottle of water and get ready. Stage 2, we usually advise our clients to create an event strategy. Having an event can help project your product and services. Or being part of an event can help project your product and services. So we've had, all kinds of events for all kinds of reasons, creating an experience that people can come and leave with and get more acquainted with the brand and have more understanding of your product and your service. So for example, we've had events where we have people who are invited to the spa to receive, complimentary treatments. I'll give an example. When we took over the PR for Henna Place, we had an event where we invited beauty bloggers and we asked each and every one of them what service that they wanted to experience. And we customized services for each of these bloggers, and they were invited to Henna Place, treated to hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and given complimentary services. And what that ended up doing was that these guys went back to their social media handles or their different platforms to talk about what they had experienced at Henna Place. So now when you have 10 top bloggers talking about this one particular place and this one particular brand, one did sugar waxing, one did henna, one did this. Think about all the followers that each of those 10 people have and how all of them are seeing the different experiences that their blogger or this blogger has had at this particular space. So we find that creating an event is extremely important. If you live in Nigeria, you know we love our events. And so we usually advise our clients to create events. We usually advise our clients as well to look for possible speaking opportunities. There's a lot of conferences that are happening. And if you're a female, I mean, there's lots of women businesses conference and women gatherings and whatnot. Looking for speaking opportunities where you can talk about your brand and talk about an experience and talk to people. That's definitely a good look and does put you as a thought leader in your field. Again, hiring a small or medium-sized agency is extremely important. Developing a press release strategy as well is extremely important. I say that as a brand that has products or offers services, you should have 1 to 2 stories per month for relevancy. And when I talk about stories, because when I look at the kind of stories that a lot of brands put out there, it sounds so technical. It sounds so, it sounds like a WIEC English paper, It doesn't have to be that serious. For example, if you owned a company that makes shea butter, your story for the month of January could be how, or let's say for the month of December, could be how shea butter is fantastic for Harmattan. You see what I mean? And then the story will talk about, how it gets cold during Harmattan and how, your body gets dry and X, Y, and Z, and, how you can use shea butter to protect your skin. And then, of course, image of your shea butter, your brand, or mention of your brand in that article puts you out there without making it look so strict or paid for, looking like a very serious article. If you own a makeup brand, I mean, your article for the month or your press for the month of January could be how to get that smoky eye look. And don't be afraid to add other brands amongst your brand. It makes it look more authentic. It makes it look unpaid for. So for example, if you own a makeup brand and you want to highlight your red lipstick or something, and then the article is how to get the perfect look for a night in town. And it shows maybe someone else's eyeshadow and someone else's eye pencil, and then it shows your lipstick. That is still very relevant, and that is a good way of putting your brand out there. I remember when we were the official PR agency for MAC Cosmetics, we had an article, and I can't remember what publication it was, but it talked about half of a yellow sun and Ruby Woo. Very strange connection there. So it showed a picture of one of the actresses from Half of the Yellow Sun, and then it showed a Ruby Woo because she had on a red lipstick in the image that we used. And Half of the Yellow Sun was the movie that was out then, and then it was like, get this look, and then it had, a lipstick on the side. Those kinds of articles or press releases and strategies are what you should be looking at. Try to be as creative as possible. More imagery than words, because if you know us and you know us well, we don't like to read too much, and we don't like to feel like we're doing GCE or JAM to enter Unilab. So you want to make sure that it's very visual and that it's interesting and that it can engage. Stage 3 of your agency, you might want to look at hiring a bigger agency that can target mass market. You might want to look at hiring an in-house PR to manage agencies and press outreach. So it's not uncommon for people who have an external PR agency to have an in-house PR person that will be communicating with that external agency to ensure that all your PR needs are met. And then you might want to look at developing your own industry-specific event. So if you own a beauty brand, for example, you can have an event called Beauty Lagos and invite other brands to be part of your event and have an industry-specific event. That is when, you've really done a fantastic work in terms of public relations and in terms of putting your brand story out there, showing that you're not necessarily threatened by other brands and that you're very stable as a brand and very strong as a brand. And you can create your own industry-specific event. Now we're going to talk about social media and the importance of connecting virtually. And here are my social media tips, and I touched on this earlier, is deciding what platforms are good for you. Note that not all platforms may apply to your brand. Facebook, for example, has 2 billion users as of September 2017. Instagram is visual-centric and has great engagement. LinkedIn is great for business owners and professionals. It has about 467 million users. With LinkedIn, you can join groups to connect with other professionals in your field. Snapchat has more of a younger demographic, I find. And Twitter is known for its brevity, brief messages and brief engaging messages and whatnot. So you really need to decide what space your brand should be in. It is extremely important that you understand your brand, you understand your target audience, and you understand where your target audience hang out. And that's where you want to be visible. Like I said, know your audience. Use social media to sell your products as well. And I talk about the 2080 plan here, where 20% of your promotion can be Instagram ads, and the remaining 80% should be content. You need to be very creative when you're putting content out there. Your social media page shouldn't just have pictures, or your Instagram page shouldn't just have pictures saying, visit my spa, visit my spa, visit my spa, visit my spa. That's quite boring. Instead, I want you to talk to me about how a massage can relieve daily stress. And then tie that back into, you can get that massage at my spa. I want to see how spas are tied into wellness. I want you to see how you're even telling me how to get rid of dark circles under my eyes on your Instagram page with a nice visual or whatever. And then maybe at the end of your discussion, you can talk about how this is what you do at home, and don't forget that once a month, you should come into spa for a facial. So they're very different and interesting and creative ways that you could engage people on your social media. Always remember that you're not posting on social media for yourself. You're posting on social media for your audience. Keep your audience in mind. What do they want to hear? What are some of the issues that your clients might have that your brand has a solution for? Those are the kinds of things that you need to be putting out there. Use images, use videos, and use graphics. Very important. Like I said, we don't like to read, oh my goodness, which is why sometimes you find that if you have even a very long article, to talk about. People put that in images, and then, you can swipe left and see whatever it is that you want to talk about, because we're more visual. And I think the whole world is actually going very visual, which is why, if you notice, Bella Naija Online and Bella Naija's Instagram page are completely different. No one has time to type www dot to go and read a full article. Instead, they want quick news. The world is moving very fast, where everyone wants quick news. And if you see the kind of engagement that Bella Naija has via their Instagram and compare it to, their website and the articles and things that are there, you'll see that their Instagram page is doing tremendously well. So know that people want quick messages. They love images, they love videos, and they love graphics. Choose quality over quantity. You don't need to be on every platform at all. I mean, if you spread yourself thin and you go on every social media platform, can you really manage everything? I mean, the big corporations and stuff like that have different people that maybe are dedicated to Twitter, has a different department dedicated to, YouTube, has someone else dedicated to Instagram. But as a small business, are you able to consistently engage on every single different platform? I'm not sure that this is the case. So make sure that you choose a platform or two platforms that you can dedicate time to and that you can engage with your demographics on. I always tell people to create a social media calendar for easy and precise posting. Social media calendar is pretty easy. And one of the tips that I've given some of my clients is, we have 7 days in a week. What do you want to talk about on Mondays? What do you want to talk about on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sunday? Mondays could be motivational posts. Tuesdays could be throwback. Wednesdays could be talking about, a woman crush. Thursdays could be talking about a service. Fridays could be something else. You need to have a calendar and know exactly what you're talking about in each. Yes, someone just said, valid point, burnout is inevitable when you're everywhere, for sure. Yeah, so going back to the social media calendar, it's very good to have a calendar. So that way you also have an idea what you're doing for the entire month. So monthly calendars is what we use in my agency. Gives you an idea as to what kind of posts will happen every month, and it gives you a quick snapshot of what your social media engagement will be like. Learn to use platforms such as Hootsuite to schedule posts. Monitor and respond to all social media conversations politely. We've seen a lot of drama on social media where someone is complaining about a service and the owner of the business is responding negatively to that person, and then there's back and forth on social media. Doesn't make sense. So I'll give you an example. Last year, I created a special evening on Thursdays called Throwback Thursdays at a place called Zemba. Zemba is a fantastic upscale restaurant lounge in VI. And I started Thursdays at Zemba. And I can't remember what day it was, but someone sent me a message. I probably got about 10 different messages from different people saying, okay, someone just asked, should you delete those negative comments versus responding? I'll come back to you on that in a second. Hold on a second. Okay, so I got about 10 different messages. I was like, why is everyone bugging me today? Have I won the lottery, or is Buhari looking for me? And it was a guy that had posted on his Instagram that he found a cockroach in his cocktail. Not good. Not good at all. So I'm freaking out and I'm like, this is a serious problem. Oh. This guy has the picture of the cockroach in his cocktail. So we can't even say it didn't happen. So, I mean, I felt that I needed to look into the matter. And, you know, the owner of Zemba is a fantastic guy. And he was able to actually pull out the footage of this guy and his drink. And we noticed that the guy was not inside of Zemba. He was on the outside area of Zemba, and that he left his drink unattended to, not for too long. And I mean, there's still no excuse. But again, when you're outside, you can't really control what's happening in terms of, you know, what rodent is standing in the corner. Now, instead of arguing with this guy saying, well, you were outside and you left your drink unattended to, and it's possible that... I sent him a message and I said, hi, my name is Buki. I am the PR consultant for Zemba. You came on one of my nights. I'm very sorry about the experience that you've had. One, I want to refund you for your cocktail. Two, I want to invite you and some of your friends to come back to Zemba next Thursday, and we're going to get you a table, and we're going to give you a complimentary bottle of Belvedere. And I'll get a chance to meet with you personally, introduce you to the owner and the manager so that we can apologize in person. That's how you solve that. So what ended up happening now is that he came again to Zemba, had this fantastic reception, and was able to now post again saying, thank you, Zemba, for a great night. So you need to find ways to respond to negative information online, because that stuff can go viral. Deleting depends. If someone is just being vindictive for no reason, sorry, I'm getting questions and I'm just going to check. Hey, thank you. Deleting, it depends on deleting. I try not to delete. Instead, I want it seen that I responded to you. So if I got, a message saying, I used the Buki black soap on my face and I've broken out in rashes. I want you to see a message underneath yours from Buki Black Soap saying, thank you for this feedback. Sorry for this experience that you have had. Please kindly check your DM for further conversation. I want people to see that I've responded to you. It shows that I'm not running away. It shows that I have nothing to hide. And it shows that, I'm willing to rectify an X, Y, and Z. Is it possible that the rash came from something else? Yes. Is it possible that, it actually has nothing to do with my black soap? Of course. Now, after I've responded to you in-house and I've talked to you about your skin and X, Y, and Z and whatnot, and I might offer you a remedy on how to cure that and X, Y, and Z, I'm not going to stop there. I am now probably going to think of putting together some kind of campaign of maybe 5 different random women who use my black soap and have fantastic skin for it. What that now shows is that, okay, that one person said that they developed rashes from it, but here are 5 other people that are using this black soap and it's curing whatever facial skin problems that they might have. That's why PR is very ongoing. It's very difficult when people hire PR just to launch a brand and you end it right there. That's not the beginning. Launching a brand is so simple. It's the ongoing. It's the communication. It's how you sound. It's what you look like. And it's what your brand is saying that's most important. And I always tell people, PR, minimum contract time, 6 months to 1 year. Not just to launch your brand. That's not enough. Okay, so that's how I deal with negative stories on social media. There's some stories that you're going to have to ignore. There's some. I mean, someone might come into your restaurant and say they didn't like how their eggs were fried. While you may be able to invite them, but then maybe there are 100 other people that like how your eggs are fried. You can't possibly satisfy every single person, but what you will do to every single person is that you will respond maturely and you will respond positively and know that your brand is here and there's nothing that you can't solve. No need to argue, no need to go back and forth, no need to quarrel. There's no need for it. It brings about more negative press. I've seen situations where someone reached out to a designer to create a wedding dress. And based on a picture that they saw, they sent it to the designer, and the designer promised them everything. And then they got the dress, and the dress was rubbish. Now is not the time for you to say, well, you only came for fitting once, or you didn't come for fitting 2 times, or it's not, that's the fabric you requested. That's not the point. The point is that that's someone's wedding day and they entrusted their dress in your hands. What I expect you to do, and you see, one thing I always say is that before people go on social media, most of the times they've tried to reach out to you. They've tried. It's your attitude to them that now leads them to go on social media. So once someone has contacted you to say, listen, wedding dress is rubbish, I've tried it on, it looks like crap, I'm expecting you as a brand not to go to bed and die making them the wedding dress of their dreams, showing that you can rectify that issue before it lands social media. Because once it now lands social media that you messed up on somebody's wedding dress, no bride is going to take a chance of coming to you or trying to do a dress with you because there's a good chance that you might ruin it. So you want to try to diffuse the situation before it goes out online. Okay, that was a long one there. And then my last social media tip is finding inspiration. Find inspiration. Oh wait, someone just asked me a question. Where are you? Okay, there you are. Okay, so I'm gonna answer your questions very soon. I have 10 minutes to wrap this up. So I'm just gonna skim through things very quickly. All right, so the power of networking. The power of networking cannot be denied. It's extremely important for business owners and can also result to sales. Find industry events, attend and meet people in your industry, and connect with others for possible collaborations. I'm very big on collaborations. Have a business card handy and be prepared to sell yourself and your business at any chance that you can get. Social media networking is also important. Use of influencers. Oh, this is a topic for its own. And, you know, when I start my web series with Poize, this is one of the things we're going to talk about. Using influencers to sell your products is the new way forward. Yes. Now, keep in mind, I said influencers and not celebrities. Okay. So if I saw Shay Shay using your black soap saying, hi, buy this person's black soap, I am going to know that you gave Shay Shay some good amount of money, and that's why she's putting that up. Now, if I see Abike, 46 years old, GTB banker, using your black soap, and I see a student using your black soap, or I see a mom saying, oh my God, this black soap is so gentle, I can even use it on my baby, that's more believable to me. Your influencers don't have to be celebrities, but they should have some of the following. They should be relevant in your industry. They should have a decent size following. They don't have to have millions of followers. Send them your products and have them use your services. Allow them review honestly and positively so that it looks authentic and translates well with your audience. Influencers like freebies, make it worth their while, send them stuff. Having more than one influencer is very okay. Establish a relationship with your influencers. Testimonials and positive reviews is what you're looking for and can be very helpful to you. Power of collaboration. Collaboration is a strong tool used in PR. Leveraging on another brand to boost your brand is not uncommon. Sometimes finding a brand that you can partner with can boost your brand to a whole new level. Or finding somewhere that you could put your brand. For example, if there was a massive event coming up and I knew that I could offer them free cupcakes in exchange for my cupcake brand to be on the invitation or on the backdrop, or for me to get acknowledgement at the event, I am going to do it. That is publicity for me, and that is a fantastic way of putting my brand out there. Just the same way I decided to give my Bobby Taylor gift bags to the Future Awards, right? And these are the Bobby Taylor gift bags. I created them myself. I believe the bags were $1 each. I bought the letterings from a craft store, and I used super glue and put them on myself because I had no money. I contacted different brands, different magazines, Ekene Onu's book, The Mrs. Club, and different stuff. And I filled my back. House of Tara gave me makeup. T.Y. Bello had just come out with that CD. I believe it was called The Land is Green. I had purchased iPod shuffles from China and I threw them in. I don't know if you can see this little spot here. That was my company profile rolled up and put right there. And I carried my bags and flew to Nigeria for the first time after 15 years to give the Future Award winners this bag that I made by myself. How to choose a right PR agency is extremely important. Create a brief on your project or your campaign or your brand that tells the agency what you expect and what your brand is about. Create a short list of 5 agencies that have demonstrated good track record in your industry and invite them to pitch. Get references from their past and present clients. Start with a 3-month trial. PR is about relationships. Your agency has to be a right fit. So it's possible that you might not fit with your agency, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that the agency is bad. It just means that you're not vibing, because PR is about relationships, so it has to be a right fit. Remember to establish weekly PR meetings to go over targets, goals, and implementation. Track monthly performance through reports, and have a budget. No PR agency is going to work for free. How do you measure PR, and how do you know people are doing what they're meant to be doing if they're servicing you? You measure PR through your reach, number of impressions generated, unique views, number of readers, number of TV viewers. So for example, if I get you a front cover of This Day Style, I am able to tell you, based on This Day Style, how many people pick up This Day Style every Sunday. So you should know that your face has been seen by X amount of people. The quality of the publication and the quality of the content is another way to measure PR. Is it a good publication? Is it a no-name magazine that none of us have ever heard of? Aristocrats magazine and all other kinds of things? Or is it Business Day Online? And when you look at the quality of the content, you know, is it a good story? Is it written well? Are you highlighted? Is your brand highlighted? Those are the ways to measure PR. How accurately do the major articles reflect the messages that you're trying to convey? If you're trying to tell people that your spa is the best spa in the country, how does that sound in the article that you've been featured in? And then, of course, calculating the value of the reach achieved. So now, for example, if I'm able to get you a full day, okay, sorry guys. I'm gonna answer these questions soon. I just have to run through this because Comfort's gonna kick me out soon. If I'm able to get you a full page in This Day Style, sweetheart, a page in This Day Style advert is over 1 million. So if I get you a page in This Day Style, it is valued at 1 million. So if you pay me as your PR agency $50K every month, and I've gotten you 1 page in This Day Style, I've done a good job compared to $50K to an output of over 1M, okay? So, you know, I know a lot of PR agencies are struggling because as clients, your demands are quite heavy. Oh, how come I'm not in all the newspapers? How come I'm not everywhere? And blah, blah, blah. And it's not that easy, one. Two, how much are you paying and what is the value as to what your PR agency is giving you? Very, very important. Now, here are bonus tips. Tips on writing press releases in case you're going to do this by yourself. Your press release should not be more than 1.5 pages long. You're not writing an article so that you can enter LASU, okay? We don't like to read. So 1.5 pages long is good enough. Keep your press release simple. It should identify the following: who, what, where, when. Once those things are answered, your press release is pretty good. Write your release with your reader in mind. It must be clear and concise. For the Nigerian market, we suggest 3 different releases from 3 different angles. Why? Our journalists copy and paste. Some of them do. So when you send out a press release untargeted to a bunch of, journalists, and they copy and paste it, and then you open a Punch newspaper, you see the press release, you open Business Day, it's the same press release, the same heading, same everything. Guess what, sweetheart? I know you've paid for it. It's not believable. So I would say 3 different releases from 3 different angles, and guess what? Target your press release per person. So I'd rather say to myself, this is my press release. I have 3 different stories, 3 different angles, all saying the same thing. I'm going to give Bella Niger, Guardian, and Business Day. It doesn't need to be everywhere, okay? Add quotes from the owner of the business or important partners. That's why you see in the middle of the press release, you see, we are happy to open this beautiful spa to satisfy the ever-growing demand of spa treatment, blah, 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 blah. Having a quote in your press release is great. Use images. We're visual people. Proofread your work. If you make punctuation errors and you know that our press copy and paste, it will be published just like that. Be available for questions. Know who you're sending it to and make sure it's interesting enough for the journalist to want to carry. When you're sending your press release, please put your press release in the body of your email. Don't send it as an attachment. Some people's email addresses automatically reject attachments. No one has time with our slow 3G internet to be trying to download your attachment. Put it in the body of your email. Ensure your subject line is catchy, keeping in mind that journalists receive up to 100 emails a day. Make sure it's interesting to make them to want to open the email. And then follow up with a telephone call, or follow up with sending the journalist or the editor some of your products, or inviting them over to experience your service. Tips on how to woo a journalist. Sometimes it's not easy to get journalists to become interested in your brand. How to get them interested, like I said, send your journalists and editors your products to try out alongside your press release. Let the journalist or editor experience your services alongside your press release. Invite the journalist or editor to your next event. It's hard for journalists to write about things that they don't know or haven't experienced. Give them a treat. It's possible, but not guaranteed, that they might find a place for you in their next article. My case study is one of my newest clients. This makes me very happy. Salihat Rahman, fantastic lady. She is the proud owner of Abaya Lagos. Don't know if you've seen Abaya Lagos. So a couple weeks ago, we tried to pitch Salihat for Guardian Woman front cover. We had sent an email saying, hi, we have a designer, she's amazing. We sent pictures of her abayas and everything, and we want her on the front cover of The Guardian. First attempt, I got an email back from the editor of Guardian Woman saying, Buki, she seems great, her pieces are lovely, but maybe we should look at this another time. We have a lot of designers lined up. I was like, okay. Buki doesn't take a beating. So I emailed back, and now here was my pitch to Guardian. I said, we have a lot of designers, but how many of them are Northerners? She's a Northerner. Abaya is a Northern attire. Now what she's done with abayas is that she's put them in mainstream fashion, bringing in Northern inspired fashion and making it trendy where even non-Northerners, non-Muslims can now wear abayas. And that was my winning pitch. I'm proud to tell you guys that she is on the front cover of Guardian Woman tomorrow. Yes. Winning pitch. This is why I love my job. You tell me no, I have to find an angle. And that's the thing, is that you must find an angle to pitch. So this is the end, guys. Visit our website at roberttaylormedia.com or email us at info@roberttaylormedia. Phone number is 070-695-96951. And stay tuned, because we're going to be introducing, and this is very exciting, Comfort and I are going to be introducing what we call the PR series, where I can take some of these topics one by one and really go into them. So in collaboration with Poize Insider, we'll be hosting a monthly PR series targeting different various PR topics that will be interesting and helpful to your small business. If you have a PR question for me, please feel free to email me at bookiecaribbeewhite.com. I will be launching bookiecaribbeewhite.com. And so my email is me@bookiecaribbeewhite.com. Thank you guys for spending time with me. I'm going to start to take questions, and I look forward to speaking with you.
Yay, very, very well done. This was wonderful.
Yay.
I'm so excited for Saliat. She is a member of Poize. So we will
lovely.
Yeah, so we will certainly send her a congratulatory note.
Yes, great, love
wonderful, it. Wonderful designer she is.
Yes.
This was so insightful. I have my notebook with all my notes. I'm quite excited about all the things that we learned, and I'm sure that there are lots of questions. So Gloria, I don't know if you're unmuted. Can we see you, Gloria? I'm sure she'll pop out in a sec. Gloria will moderate the Q&A session.
Okay.
While we're waiting for her, maybe we could talk about the series, and then she'll come on for just maybe a minute or two, and then she'll come on and moderate the Q&A session.
I'm looking at some of the questions.
Okay, I finally unmuted myself. It was hard finding myself in all of that, in all of that faces. But that was a great session, Buki. I learned a lot. Like seriously, like I am waiting to do a session with you where you kind of. All right, so now that the session is over, we're going to take Q&As. I'm going to unmute you, so all you need to do if you have a question is raise your hands. We're going to take about 10 to 15 questions. Comfort, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we can switch
Is that too many questions?
That's fine, but raise your hand, not physically. Using the if you're using the phone, there should be a raise hand button. If you are on your laptop, guys, I am so sorry. I sent all of you my personal link to log into this webinar.
Everyone's name is Comfort, I know.
Everyone's name is my name, and I'm like, why is everyone named Afonso Sakoma? It's overwhelming.
I see some questions here that I wanted to go over very quickly.
All right, so maybe we can start with those, and then just so guys, raise your hands virtually while Bookie takes on some of the questions that were typed in.
So someone asked that, is it okay to address people who steal your content, your company's products, and pass it off as their own on social media, especially when it's affecting your online business credibility? Yes, it is okay. You've worked hard for your brand. Sorry. You've worked hard for your brand. No one should be stealing. And you know, Niger, we'll steal it and pass it off as our own. I do advise that you try to take it offline to reach out to the person and find ways for people to be able to identify your own product. So for example, if you create, let's say, bags, for example, and someone else is creating your bags, you might want to look at having something that everyone would know what a real your bag is, if you know what I mean. Think about all the big brands like all the Hermes and everything else and all the fakes and everything else that's out there in the market. They have different ways to identify the brand, and just continue to reinvent yourself And sometimes when people try to copy, I see it as a compliment. It means that your product is good. Just try to make sure that your brand does stand out, and do try to contact the person behind the scenes and let them know that, you know, what they're doing is not right, and all of that. So she says, how do you connect strategically online? For instance, I want to sit with Comfort in a room someday. Send her a message. She's not that tough. Send her a message and let her know that you would like to meet with her. Don't be afraid to send people messages, especially when you have something really good going on. So send a message and I'm sure she'll respond to you. Someone says, how do you break out of silent mode, and how is this managed, especially where the brand is positioned for exclusivity, luxury markets? I actually represent a lot of luxury brands. Majority of the brands that I represent are luxury. I think that with the luxury market, there's a lot that has to do with direct marketing, email marketing, putting certain images and stuff like that out there. And you as the owner of the brand or the business being able to put yourself out there, talk about the luxury market. We have different things like the luxury business summits, luxury this, luxury that. You can find spaces in there. As a luxury brand, I mean, your brand is not all over the place. But then you have to keep in mind that a lot of Nigerians like luxury. A lot of Nigerians are able to afford luxury. So how you communicate, your communication style, what your images look like, what your brand story is, are the things that I find that are very, very important when it comes to, you know, luxury brands. So for example, I'm the official PR agency for Dom Perignon. And when we launched the Dom Perignon Plenitude 2 into the Nigerian market, we didn't have a concert. You're not having a concert with Dom P. So what we decided to do instead was invite 20 high net worth individuals into a nice suite at the George Hotel and treat them to a 4-course dinner, and then introduce the Dom Perignon P2, starting off with pairing with Dom Perignon P1, then the Dom Perignon P2 comes after, and we're talking about the brand and we're engaging and X, Y, and Z. And at the end of the day, we had tons of orders in the room that night. So you have to know your audience and exactly how to communicate with them. And then I think the other question here was, your resume is quite intimidating. Can small businesses offer your services? Yes, they can. I'm too smart to know that if you cut off a certain demographic, one day everyone's going to be like, you know what, don't talk to her, she's too expensive. And you're going to end up suffering for it. So I do accept different briefs with different budgets. I have clients that pay me 50,000 naira a month. And I have clients that I do pro bono work with. I have clients that I barter with. You know, I'm smart enough to know that cutting across different sizes of business is the way forward. And someone said, what's a reasonable amount to budget for PR for a small business? I would say for a 3-month stint, anywhere between 250,000 naira to 500,000 naira, depending on exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so I've answered those questions. Now I'm ready to take on regular questions. Who's baby?
Whoever unmuted, whoever raised up their hand, I've got you unmuted, so you may want to go ahead and ask your question. Unfortunately, you have Comfort's name as well, but if you speak up, you should know. Comfort, I've unmuted you. So there's another lady. I can see you. You raised up your hand.
Yeah, just one quick note. When you're asking your question, since most of you have my name, please let us know your full name and your business name before you ask the question, just so that we know who we're chatting with. All right, so please go ahead. The floor is open. We've got about 30 minutes for Q&A. So let's do this.
I don't think she knows that she raised her hands. So,
Okay,
since she's not talking, I'm going to lower her hand.
Okay, so then who wants to ask the first question? Gloria, look around just in case a person can't unmute themselves.
Now, Joanne Rosan will ask the question. She says, can you please expatiate on having a social media calendar? What should it really entail? And say for a photographer's page. Just having images, textual images. Yeah, you can have images up. You can highlight some of your past and present work. You can highlight different deals that you're having. So, for example, Valentine's is coming up. Are you going to be posting, your Valentine's deals, couples photo shoot, and all of that good stuff? What does your social media say for brides and for people getting married? Do you have anything for pregnancy shoots and X, Y, and Z? Do you have tips on your page on how to dress to a shoot? What colors look great on camera? What colors don't look great on camera? So, and in terms of how many posts per day, I usually say not more than 3. I have another question here saying, how do you look for speaking opportunities? Feel free to, yes, send an email alongside your profile stating what you do and what you speaking can contribute to the session or to the conference, and wait for some feedback. You can do that as well.
Name Jade. I'm gonna unmute you, and then you can ask your question. Your name is spelled Jade, so I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Jade.
Okay, all right.
Jade, I like that.
Hello.
Jade, go ahead and say your question.
Okay, hi. My name is actually not Jade, so I really don't know what's going on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, hi. My name is Asap Victor Ifeanyi. I just asked the first question about getting speaking opportunities.
Of course.
Yeah, I have. Thank you so much for that. It was really enlightening. I'm grateful for that answer, and thank you for the class. It's been awesome. I've learned so much. I have 2 more questions, please.
Sure.
You talked about developing a press release for your products. Yes, under the stage 2 the social media stuff. And you basically talked about products. I offer services, and you talked about products, sending them a sample of your product, sending them maybe to come by the spa to come have a facial or something. If you offer your services, what you offer is just services. Let's say you do trainings, you're into consultation. How do you package that?
I would most likely invite an editor to one of your trainings, complimentary.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just to invite them
Yes.
to come and see. You want to meet them and you want them to come and see exactly what you do. Why not? You'll be shocked that by the time you guys get talking, you'll find different, you know how we are. We'll find ways and angles that we can collaborate. Always.
Yeah.
So I would say invite somebody to your session. So for example, for a woman like, let's say, Adeswa Oyenokwe that owns TW Magazine, if you offer trainings and sessions, offer her a special session targeted to her office where you can teach her staff 1 or 2 things for free. Why not?
Oh,
you know what I mean? And you'll be shocked that, she might find it insightful and whatnot. And maybe next thing you know, she might be interested in having you have a column on TW Online where you're actually providing online trainings or advice to people on their businesses or whatever it is. So don't limit yourself. Just expand your entire horizon and just go for it.
Okay. One last question, please. Let me not take too much of your time. Yeah, you talked about acknowledgements from journalists. And do you pitch there? What do you actually do? If you send an email, is that good enough? But I think you kind of answered the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of answered the question.
I pitch and I find different angles to pitch. If you're going to reject one, I'm going to find a way to come back for you and you're going to listen to me. you know, and
Okay.
sometimes not everything works, and that's fine.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work with
Okay.
one publication, it doesn't mean that it will not work with another publication. If it doesn't work with a newspaper for me, it doesn't mean that it won't work with a television station for me, or that it won't
Okay.
work with a radio station for me, or that it won't work with a blog for me. So it depends.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much. Have a lovely evening.
You too. Someone just asked, how do you manage PR when you have to be away for a long while, especially if you have to travel to take a course? I feel that you can manage PR from anywhere. When I travel, I'm not in the country at the moment. When I travel, I'm constantly working. You don't need to be physically there to send an email to an editor. You don't need to be physically there to make, and we're lucky now. It's not like back in the day where we didn't have WhatsApp phone call, where we had to be by. Now you can WhatsApp call anybody, you know? So you can still do things, but you must carve maybe 1 hour so that you don't affect your studies. 1 hour a day or 30 minutes a day to manage that. And sometimes if you have a PR agency working for you, most of the time they don't need to see you to do their job. And then I have another question here saying, when choosing a PR company, would it be less of a learning curve for the company if you can work with someone who understands your industry, especially if it's a highly technical one like engineering? I usually say to people that you should hire a PR agency that does have experience in your field. Some PR agencies are able to work in various fields. So for example, my company is divided into contemporary and corporate. We have clients from Hennessy to Veuve Clicquot to Montaigne Place, and we have Castrol Oil. We have technical conferences. We're pretty spread apart. My team is big enough that I have individuals that are specialized in various fields. If you came to me today and you were interested in a theater production and you wanted PR for that, we have someone in my agency that's able to do that for you. And I'm sure other agencies are the same way. Someone asked another question. Joanne, a mixologist, she runs Cocktails by Enliven. Thank you for putting your Instagram page there. Fantastic PR work already. She read communications and language and arts and passionate about PR. She also runs a media agency. Okay. She was just giving a compliment. Okay, that's fine. All right, great. So hi?
Someone's got their hands up, and I've actually unmuted you. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, my name is Nanka Essien, and basically I help a lot of entrepreneurs to get seen and get found. So I'm basically in the visibility market. Now my question basically is that in PR you need to do some certain level of understanding the vision of the company before you can assist them with PR. But basically that's a problem that I have. A lot of people that I work with have not clarity around their vision. So it's difficult to kind of craft a marketing message and kind of craft a visibility plan for them online. How would you propose that I support such people to be able to understand really what their brand is offering and in what dimension I can actually help them to get visible?
So for example, just listening to you and listening to what you do, I'm very interested in collaborating with you where I can actually even offer my clients your service. So now I'm talking about the power of collaboration again. Now you offer this fantastic service where people get to understand their markets and understand the brand. I would collaborate with as much PR agencies as I can. So if you can send me a message after this, that's great, because anything that I can do to allow my clients understand their brands, understand the market properly so that PR makes sense for them is making my job a whole lot easier, because I don't do what you do. So having someone like you affiliated even with my agency where we're sending people off to you to get all that stuff done and you're sending them back to me so that we can start work, I'm happy to do that. Boils down back to the power of collaboration. And then you as an individual, I believe, you know, advice online, what's your social media saying, what tips are you offering, what articles are you writing, where can people read and learn from you? speaking opportunities. Think about all the branding events that we have and all the branding seminars that we have. I would expect that you should be part of those kinds of things.
All right, so we got a couple of questions in the room.
It can be really frustrating.
Did you have something else to say to Bookie?
No. I was just trying to follow up with what she said. Like, it makes a lot of sense because it can be frustrating when people don't actually understand where they are going with their marketing, and so sometimes it can be difficult to actually find a campaign that works.
Exactly.
So I absolutely understand what she said in terms of collaborating, because that makes the process sense.
Fantastic.
Thank you for that, Key. Awesome session.
You're welcome. Okay, so I have a question here saying, how do you ensure there's a good balance between your personal branding and company branding? Jadeshola. Just make sure that there's a good balance. I mean, you have your publicity going on for your brand, and then every now and then, your personal branding should be visible to some extent. And again, even with your personal branding, for example, if you had an interview with a publication and you're talking about what you do, you're going to eventually end up mentioning your company brand. So your personal brand actually does help your company branding as well. So I mean, I think that it's very easy for anyone to strike a balance between the two. And then I got a question here saying, and I get this question a lot, how do I stand out as a brand running two different businesses? One is business consulting and the other is content development. It's a tough one. I usually say that people want to know what you're known for. So for me, it sounds to me like that you're an entrepreneur that owns a business consulting company and a content development company. So you would stand out as an entrepreneur that is skilled in business consulting and content development. That's how I would describe yourself. And then someone else just asked that with a school, how do you project yourself without sounding too much like you're advertising, since schools don't really advertise? I find that with schools, one, you want to put your school out there as, of course, a learning facility where people should attend. I find that with schools is mostly word of mouth. So your target audience for me is parents and internal PR. And then, of course, you can have, so for example, if NCA was doing a commentary on the educational system in Nigeria, I think that would be a fantastic space for you. I think that even having an article talking about education in Nigeria and where we're going is something that you could be interviewed about without even necessarily mentioning your school. But then, you know, you're now described as the principal or the owner of a specific institution, and you're talking about education. And that's what I try to explain with PR, is that it doesn't have to be, hi, I'm promoting my school. It could be, hi, I am the owner of a school and I am passionate about educating the future generation. And then also your school activities. What are you guys doing in school? You know, what amazing things are your kids doing? Is it in any publications? You know, did you have a Christmas carol? Was it covered by any publications? Do you have an exceptionally talented student that passed with honors that is now in some amazing school? How is that projected? Do you have testimonials from parents and things like that? I mean, those are the different kinds of things that you should be looking at. We've actually just taken on a school to handle PR for, and it will be my first time working with the school. And our plans are very out there. And they don't look like advertising. They're very, very organic. And publications that are best for education is TV, radio, and newspapers. And even online. I don't think school is everything that everyone does, you know. A lot of parents are online, you know, there's different Lagos moms, there's all sorts of blogs and everything. I don't think you should limit yourself.
Hey, Bookie, one more person has their hands up. She's in the car, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Who's that little one?
Hey, me, Toy. My name is Toy Williams, and Sorry, you might hear my daughter screaming by my side, but I'm just
That's
trying to help.
okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Buki, for the fantastic session. I'm an HR consultant. My business is focused on providing HR services for SMEs. And
Lovely.
I think what I'm taking away from your session is that I really want to kind of like reintroduce myself to the market. I've been on the market now for over a year, but under another brand name, and now we're branching out. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, unfortunately, I've been driving much of the time, but I try to listen in to see what things I'm supposed to do for stage one of PR for my company.
Mm-hmm.
So that's essentially what I just wanted to find out from you, that stage
I, I
one
think
PR.
I think I think that as an HR professional for small businesses, there's actually a lot that a lot of people can learn from you. But then how many small businesses know that there's HR available to them? For example, my company has to be one of the most organically grown companies that I've ever seen, in that I didn't hire HR until 2 years ago. I didn't think about HR until 2 years ago. I've done everything by myself. Um, and HR is extremely important. I know the changes that have happened within my company by having an HR person there. So imagine all the
Please
advices
preach
that,
it.
oh yeah, I imagine all the advices that you can give online. Even what I'm doing right now for Poise, I don't see why you can't do it as an HR professional. You
Oh, I
know,
did that for her last year.
lovely.
I had a session on HR
But you see,
last
the main thing here is consistency. You know, after doing this, and then what? If I go on your social media pages, am I getting any tips, any HR tips? You know, I just feel like HR is important. It's something that everyone needs. You need to position yourself as someone that can provide that service. You know,
year. So would you?
even in our magazines and our online platforms, there must be career sections. You can answer questions on careers and on small businesses,
Absolutely.
of course. So I definitely suggest that you go that route. Why not?
Okay, fantastic. The only other thing else that I wanted to ask about was that now, personally, I'm an extroverted person, but then social media for me is an entirely new minefield, and I haven't quite learned how to navigate it yet. And that's why, in terms of social media presence, I'm not quite out there yet. But you said something that was very interesting to me, which was that as a brand, you need to know what social media platforms you should be playing on. So, in your
Exactly.
advice for professional services,
So
what
for
social media?
HR, for example, I would definitely do Twitter and I would
Okay,
definitely do Instagram.
okay, okay.
Definitely. And you know what? Join LinkedIn. I mean, I don't know if you're active on your LinkedIn. There's a lot of HR groups. Look for other HR Instagram pages internationally and kind of see what they're doing. You know, yeah.
Oh, someone just posted something about, because everyone is comfort. I don't know who said that. So if you want to hit me up later, it'll be lovely. Buki, I'll be sending an email to you later on this evening so that we can talk.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, she made a valid point. If you are gonna type in the chat box, please go ahead and type your name as well, so everyone knows what you're talking
I
about.
got a quick question here saying, if you're anti-personal branding, like you run away from being a known face, but your business needs to be out there, how do you create a balance? Can you? Um, I think that you can manage it, but I think that for the Nigerian market, and again, it is our market and you know how we want to know who you are. Especially if you're doing desserts. Let's not come and eat and die. Let's know who you are. It's true. We want to know who you are. I mean, you don't have to be all over the place taking and posing, putting pictures on a red carpet or doing stuff like that. No, you don't have to. But, you know, I might want to see a short video of you showing me how to make a cupcake in 1 minute. I might want to see you doing little cupcake classes. Um, I might want to see you or see your brand visible at events. I don't think you need to be completely out, but then your face, being there once in a while. It doesn't have to be all the time. And you can be selective. You don't need to be on every single platform. So for example, if you were offered an article or an editorial on Forbes Africa, you're going to turn that down? I don't think so. If you were being offered an interview in Business Day Online to talk about desserts, why not? I mean, why not? So yes, you can create a balance, and you can definitely do that. I mean, we all know what the owner of Facebook looks like. We may not know what the owner of Google looks like, but yeah. We know what a lot of owners of different brands look like. We know what they say, we hear their quotes and all that kind of stuff. So I think that it's important to some extent. You don't need to be all over the place. Oh no, someone said they turned down Forbes Africa. What? What? Don't do that. Okay. Any more questions for me?
Okay, Sonaya has a question. Gloria, can you please unmute Sonaya?
Sonaya, let's see. Can you raise your hand, Sonaya, so I can easily find you? I meant virtually, but now I found you. It's okay. So you're unmuted now, so go ahead and
if you have a question, please remember to raise your hand virtually so we can answer. Yeah.
I can see your mouth moving, but I can't actually hear you. So I think there's something wrong with the audio. Am I the only one? Comfort, can you hear her?
No, I can't hear her. No. Are you using an earpiece? Maybe unplug it. Let's see if that helps.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah. There we go.
Hi, Buki.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for the training. Very insightful. I've learned so much. I've been in business for about 4 years, but PR is not something I've really taken seriously. So my question is, I'm a very private person, and I know that it's very important for you to be out there as the face of the brand, but I want to do it differently. What I think from my perspective is, most times, if not all the time, is customers want to get quality service. Do they necessarily have to know the person behind it to be able to get great service? Do I have to be known? Isn't it possible that I maintain my private life, so to say, but I'm able to meet the expectations of the clients?
Right. So when I say that it's important to be visible as the owner of your brand, does not mean that your personal life needs to be visible at all. I'm saying that if you're able to get 1 or 2 interviews a year, if you like, do it. It just shows that there's someone who, the way that I find that our market is, especially in Nigeria, is that when we don't know who's behind it, we wonder if you're running. Why don't you want us to see your face? Is there something about your service that, we like to see someone, because then it means that you're available to us. So you being visible with your brand could be even as easy as sending out newsletters to your clients and having a small little picture of you at the bottom saying, hi, this is me, blah, 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 thank you for using the service, blah, blah, blah. Or it could be 1 or 2 interviews a year. Or it could be, if there was an event that had anything to do with your industry, you should be able to speak since you offer such amazing service. As a matter of fact, you could be doing an interview on Business Day on customer service without mentioning your brand. Maybe at the bottom there, it'll say CEO of X, Y, and Z, but then you're talking about customer service. That still puts you in a very, very strong position as a CEO. So we don't need to see, you know, you partying at Zemba or Buzz Bar, or you know, showing us what your boyfriend looks like or what he bought you on Valentine's Day. We don't need to see that bit. But the professional end of stuff, I think that it's important to see that there is a professional woman that owns a business that offers fantastic service. The fact that you're even a female at all, for me, any women in business, Poize, conference, whatever it is, if there's an opportunity for you to talk about the importance of customer service and you can actually teach people how you've done stuff, that's amazing.
So, Bookie, just to add to her question, let's say she's one of those introverts who are really, really, really shy, right?
Mm-hmm.
She could literally hire someone like you to be like the face of her brands, correct?
No.
No?
Never. So as PR professionals, we are not the faces of your brand. Because God forbid if you give one lipstick and your lip swells and people come and look for me, call you out. I'll be like, it's not me. I think that not everyone has to have a face of the brand. Not everyone has to. But if she's an introvert and if she wants to stay behind the scenes, and then the only time we hear from her is maybe once a year on Punch newspaper, where she talks about one thing, or where she's written an article on her own website, that's good enough. You don't need to be completely out there and say, hi, this is me, I'm the owner, hey, I have my own business, what's popping, everybody come and see me. No, it's not about that. It's not about the whole, and a lot of people make huge mistakes with this, thinking that putting yourself out there with your business is about celebrities status or being a celebrity. It's not. As a matter of fact, I can tell you for free how me putting my brand out there with my face actually hindered a lot of things for me with my business. So I started off as Bobby Taylor, and then next thing, I'll never forget, I owned a blog, and I told everyone, I said, if anyone ever calls me Bookie again, I'm not answering you. My name is Bobby Taylor. What did that do? I became a walking billboard for my brand. Did it help with publicity? Of course. Were there negatives? Of course. Because every time I was maybe out somewhere dancing and komole with my friends, my company was the one that was komoleing with my friends. My personal life got tied in to the brand and the business, and I didn't like that. So that's where for 10 years, we had a lot of, because I'm a very sociable person and I'm very, I love lifestyle. A lot of corporate brands shunned my company because, Bobby now, he's chilling, he's playing somewhere, he's doing something. I know how to do a good job, but my personality is my personality. And that's where I decided to rebrand to Robert Taylor, to remove the whole Bobby Taylor, myself and my face from the brand. Although I have a few special people beginning to call me Robert, we'll ignore them. I'm not Robert. But it's not about the celebrity status. For myself, it's different because I'm PR, I have to be everywhere. And everywhere I am, trust me, I'm looking for opportunities for my clients. My ears on the ground, I'm in almost different kinds of spaces. I'm looking. If I'm out at a bar this evening, I'm watching how many people are drinking my brands, how many people are drinking the competitive brands. Next morning, I might be doing a professional press conference to announce, one thing, or I could be working on one campaign, or I could be doing one other thing. It's versatile. But then, if you're not a PR person like myself and you have just one business, your personal life does not need to be out there at all. Your professional life is what needs to be seen.
All right, so we have time for just one more question. Latasha, you raise your hands. If you want to go ahead and unmute yourself.
Is that Tosh?
I unmuted you.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey y'all. Thank you, Comfort. Thank you, Glory. Thank you, Buki. I'm in Georgia actually. I have a question for Buki. Is it a such thing as overposting? I am a social media junkie. Okay. And I actually been fasting off of social media since Saturday, but I am a junkie. So can you overpost? Is there a such thing as overposting?
Yes, there is such a thing as overposting.
Explain.
But it depends. It depends. So, for example, if you're a platform and your job is to dish out news, there's no such thing as overposting. Because, I mean, if you look at different platforms that have news and gossip and everything, as things happen on the hour, they're posting and we're involved and we want to know. But if, for example, you sell hair and you have 10 posts in one day about straight hair, we're tired and we're done. Nah, that's enough. So it depends on what it's about. If you want to post more than 3 times a day, I always say that make sure the posts are very, very different. And I also find that the more that you overpost, the more you cut down the engagement that you could possibly be having. If you could have one strong post. So even having one strong post where you can swipe left to see 10 different photos, I'd rather that than post here, post here, post there. After a while, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm not liking this anymore. Who's next?
Got you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm a stylist and a designer. So I deal with a lot of different celebrities. So I do post a lot of like behind the scenes, or I'll post like the actual cover
So you know what?
and things like that.
Behind the scenes, I would go live.
Okay.
I would go live behind the scenes. Everyone wants to have like access to what's happening at the back. So I would go live behind the scenes. And in terms of the covers and in terms of all of those things, feel free to post them. Feel free to use Instagram live. The live feed.
Got you. Yep.
You can do that one many times. But then your actual post on your actual page should be limited to not more than 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's also nothing wrong with saving photos. Sometimes I save some pictures and then I'll wait till Thursday and I'll throw it back.
Got you. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's good to have you here. I just saw your picture. I'm like, oh, she's here.
This been really dope though. Thank you, Comfort, for this.
You're welcome. Okay,
All right, one more person, final person. We have.
Nanke.
Go ahead and say your name. Yeah.
Nanke. It's Nanke. Okay, so I just wanted to contribute to the person who had a bit of issues being present, on social media or being present and representing their brand. So this is more or less like a contribution, and I also want to hear Buki's point of view on it as well. Because in this customer-centric period where we are in the economy, it's very essential that business owners learn to build their know, like, and trust factor. But I think that some of the things that she can do, virtually not being able to put herself out there, is to be able to build community. Like be able to build small community that are close-knit and that are kind of intimate. So webinars like this one, Facebook communities, that are smaller, where she can actually have some influence, putting out some pre-recorded videos as content, and basically trying to build community are ways that you can still put a face to your brand and make people to know that it is a human being interacting with a human, because basically people buy from people. So it is very essential that at some point you make sure that you are related to your brand, or you can really, just basically blend out with your brand. So that was just my comment, basically.
I completely agree, 100%. We want to know it's a human being. We do. We so do. Yeah. That's why sometimes you see us, we'll go and eat in a restaurant. If the waiter treats us anyhow, I say, we'll call the owner. We know the owner. We know the owner. The owner is our friend. Yeah.
Okay, we've actually gone over by a couple of minutes, but just as a quick reminder before we go off, if you guys want to contact Buki, she's got her email address up there. If she wants to, Buki, do you think you can send some of them the PowerPoint slides so they have some kind of reference to go back on?
Definitely. I guess they can email Poize and then we can channel it through that. We can send it to them via Poize.
Okay. And if you need her service, feel free to reach out to her. She's actually very accessible.
Yeah. And I'm just definitely look out for our collaboration with Poize on PR Tips Monthly?
Yeah, so I definitely wanted just to talk a little bit about that. So for those of you who are online and are members, definitely please go onto our new website. Make sure that you sign up for upcoming webinars and also live classes starting in February. Even if you're not a member, you can buy tickets to these live classes. Like Bookie mentioned, we're going to be launching a PR series where every month we will dissect a very specific issue in PR that will be available to our members as well. So it'll be done in a webinar format, but we'll take one particular issue and hash that out every month. So by the end of the year, we should all be PR experts and at least be able to understand the difference between the two and know how to apply those differences in your business. This has been recorded. This whole class was recorded. So for those of you who are members, if you log on to the website, the members only section, you will be able to access the video replay in about an hour, which is the time it takes to get it uploaded. Are there any final words, Bookie, that you wanted to before we thank you?
I just wanted to thank everyone for spending time with me today. Don't be afraid of public relations. It's extremely important. 2018 is the year that you should have some form of PR, for sure. There's a lot of new trends coming up. I got quite a long list of new trends in terms of PR and small businesses from the Public Relations Society of America a couple weeks ago. And they're very exciting. And I think that every brand out there needs to be projected in their own way and in their own style and tell their own story and build brand equity and all of that. So please, I'm excited. And Comfort, thank you so much for this. I've never done this before. And now I'm so excited. I'm ready to I'm ready to fly and do all sorts more. And I'm looking forward to the collaboration with Poize to do a lot of other stuff. I think we can all learn from one another, and don't be afraid of the power of collaboration. Apparently, this is the year for it.
Yeah.
Power of collaboration. I'm talking about cocktail company collaborating with cupcake company to do something. That's what we're hearing is the way forward this year. So don't be afraid to collaborate with someone. And we wish everyone a fantastic 2018. And thank you.
Thank you all so much, Bookie. You're amazing. God bless you. Everyone has learned so much from you. Ladies, this was fun. See you in 2 weeks. Thank you.